Welcome back, everyone, to the Project Nodenium server. Today is the last episode for Season 12, and I've got something special that I want to be able to do to go back and look at the different projects that we've done this season. Because we've done a lot of different projects, and I've come up with a fun way to go back and look at them. But before we look back at what we've done this season, there is a little project that we need to do first. The project that we are going to do today is part of a larger build that was put together by George Johnny, and it's going to involve all of the members on the server. But to get to it, we need to go down here, and there is a tunnel that runs between the town over here to a town on the other side of the ocean. And if we go down into this tunnel, we can kind of see some of the other builds that have been done by other members. The way that the project is set up is that we have a statue of the player, and then over on this side, we have different items that were collected throughout the season that were important to that member. So we need to find our spot, which I think is down this direction a little ways, and we should be able to get a statue built for ourselves, as well as put together our little section of collectible items. So I found my spot where we are going to be building my statue. Over on this side is the little cubby where I'm going to put a bunch of different items that I've collected throughout this season. And this spot is actually in a pretty good area because it's right next to the center point in the tunnel. So I have all of the materials put together that we are going to be using to build the statue, and this statue was mostly designed by George Johnny. I did make a couple of modifications to it. Let's get started with getting that built. This statue is primarily built out of tough blocks and dark prismarine, but I think it works really well together. George Johnny did a great job coming up with this design. So there we go, we've got the statue built, and I think it works pretty well. But now it's time to get started with decorating this little cubby with all of the things that we've collected over the season. And as we go through, we are going to use that to explore some of the different projects that we worked on as well. And what better place to start our review of Season 12 than with our starter base. My starter base was a medieval fantasy design, and I really liked the location that I picked out to build it. I built the starter base along a bend in the river, so the river ended up on two sides of it. I built it primarily out of quartz, white wool, and calcite, and had cobbled deep slate and tuff for the roof. The interior was fairly basic. It's got just some chests and beds and the usual stuff that you would find in a starter base. But beneath the surface, I had a couple of farms that were pretty useful. There was this moss farm, which I had upgraded about midway through the season, and then I also had an amethyst farm, which I used to stock my shops. This was a good little starter base, and I am still really happy with how it all turned out. While we were looking at the starter base, I went ahead and added in the blocks that represent that base. We are going to go ahead and add starter base to our bookshelf, and now we can get started with taking a look at the second project. Our second project of the season was the build that we completed at Port Scarlet. You may remember at the beginning of this season, we had divided up the server into two teams. There was the red team and the blue team. I was on the red team, and we started building this Port Scarlet, which was a lot of fun to work on. This was my build, and the design that we were going for was sort of an old industrial design. I had a lot of fun building this. This was a style that I had never done before, and so it's got a lot of bricks, it's got a lot of big windows with small panes, and the way that I did that was by using birch trapdoors behind the glass. On the interior, I had these cranes which were used to lift up the different stone blocks that were stored in the warehouse, and I tried my hand at adding extra details to the walls on the exterior as well. It was a lot of fun trying something new, but I don't know that this is a style that I will return to in the future. But you never know. I've now added in the bricks to represent our Port Scarlet build, and we can add the book into the bookshelf as well. Our third project for Season 12 was the shop I built in the shopping district, where I sold amethyst shards, quartz, and skulk blocks. With my shop in the shopping district, I returned back to more of a medieval fantasy design. I had 3 shops, including an amethyst shop and a skulk shop. My skulk shop was probably my most successful shop. I made a lot of diamonds with that. It was nice to have a shop that was successful and bringing in diamonds that I didn't have to mine. My third shop was a quartz shop because with my main base being primarily out of quartz, I was getting a lot of quartz from trading with my villagers, so I thought this would be a good way to also make some extra diamonds. This was my first season having a shop, and I would say it was mostly successful. Our room is looking a little bit more decorated with some blocks to represent our shop. So we've got these amethyst, we've got our spyglass, and we can now add our book for the shop as well. But after I built the shop, that was when I decided it was time to move my base, which leads us to the fourth project that I started in Season 12, the middle base. My middle base ended up being the most useful base I have ever created. The design of it was this ruined tower, which was built up on top of a tower. There was a tunnel leading into the interior of the mountain, and this was where I had my primary location. I may label it as my middle base, but really, for how much I ended up using it, this was my primary base for the season. The way that I designed it was to have a central hall, which I really liked how this came together, having the different frog lights that went up the center. Leading off from the hall, there were rooms which had all of my farms. So there was a super smelter, a tree farm, a cocoa bean farm, a mushroom stem farm, the stone cutters that I traded for quartz, a mud farm, a sugarcane farm, and a cactus farm. And of course, I can't forget that it also held my storage room. I ended up using this base for much longer than I thought I would, and I am so glad that I put a lot of time into planning it out because it became extremely useful. I've used glowberries and this slime head to represent our middle base. We are also going to start a new bookshelf, so we'll put our middle base book there as well. The fifth project for Season 12 was our skulk farm. While this farm wasn't the most efficient skulk farm, it only took me using it a couple of times to get enough skulk to stock my shop up completely all season long. And if I end up building a skulk farm in the future, I've got some ideas on how we can make it even better. Our blocks that represent the skulk farm will include obviously skulk as well as some ender heads, which made the entire farm possible. But let's go ahead and put the book away for our skulk farm and move on to the next one. The sixth project that we started in Season 12 was restoring an ancient city. Now, I probably shouldn't show this project because I never ended up finishing it. Right here, what you're seeing is the only part that was completed, but it was a lot of fun going through and restoring this city. I completely removed all of the shriekers so I didn't have to worry about any wardens, and because it is down in a deep dark, you don't have to worry about any mob spawning. I like the designs that I came up for this project, and maybe in the future I will restore another ancient city and this time get it all the way finished. But even though I didn't end up finishing this project, it did teach me a lot about ancient cities and how they're structured. The blocks that I used to represent the ancient city was of course some deep slate bricks, as well as this soul flame, which we used throughout the build that we did. And we'll add the ancient city book to the bookshelf and finish up our second bookshelf. Our seventh project for Season 12 was the quarry that we built with Jesper. This quarry project was not only a lot of fun to work on, it was also exciting because I was able to do it with another member on the server. But with this project, we did a lot of fun things. We've got the village up on top of the hill overlooking the quarry where all of the workers would live. There were a lot of different mechanisms that we built to be able to get the quarry to function or make it at least look like the quarry functioned. And overall, I was really happy with how this project turned out. I've only added one block for the quarry, and that is some basalt, which we use to make the cracks around the quarry. But we've also got calcite over here from our first base, and that one is what we are using to signify the quarry as well. But with the blocks placed, we can now add this book to the third bookshelf. The eighth project for Season 12 was the Nether Portal competition. Throughout the season, there were a number of different competitions. One of the ones that I participated in was a nether building competition, and this was the design that I came up with. I ended up using a lot of gilded blackstone for this, and it took a lot of work to go around to different bastions to be able to collect up enough gilded blackstone for the build. But overall, this was a very geometric design, and I had a lot of fun working on it. The blocks that we've added for the nether portal was of course some gilded blackstone, which was a big part of that build. We are going to add this book into the bookshelf as well, which we'll put right there. The final project to cover for Season 12 is, of course, my main base. This was my main project for the season, and it was definitely an interesting project to work on to figure out the different designs as I went along. These towers at the entrance to the harbor were the first structures that I designed for this build, and you can see here that the design is a little bit different from what the final build at the back turned out to be, but they were useful for determining the final block palette that I ended up using throughout this base. And you can see throughout this harbor that I used that block palette extensively. There is a ton of quartz that was used here. Where I really started to figure out what I was doing was with the towers here. And these towers were not the first design that I came up with, but they were the best design that I came up with, and I liked it so much I ended up using it everywhere. And you can see the inspiration that I pulled from those towers being used all over this build. This build uses so many different types of blocks. For the white blocks, we've got mushroom stems, bone blocks, quartz pillars, quartz bricks, blocks of quartz, smooth quartz, and behind the quartz, there are a bunch of gray blocks. So we've got stone bricks, we've got stone, we've got tough bricks, and we've got deep slate bricks. And those are just the blocks that I used for the walls. The windows have a different set of blocks. The roof has a different set of blocks. There are just a variety, and it took a lot of shulker boxes to hold all of the different blocks to get this thing built. Once it was built, I took the design that I came up with for this main build and built this nether portal design which came together very well. And I even did a little bit of work on the interior. We have a main hall which leads all the way across the building, and then we have this main room in the back which was completed. But unfortunately, just like with the ancient city, I did not get to finish the rest of the interior. I would put this base in my top 3. I think it came together very well. It's got a lot of really nice details to it, and I am going to be sad leaving it behind as we move on to the next season. And what better block to represent my main base than a smooth quartz block? And we'll go ahead and add the book to the bookshelf as well. Our little cubby is now complete. There are blocks representing every build that we've done in here, as well as some other blocks that are just some fun ones, like the Enderman heads or the slime heads. We've also got the signs in the corner, which just adds some nice color. They don't really represent anything in particular, but I think this came together very well. There is one more thing that I want to add here though, and that is my set of netherite armor, which we are going to put on this armor stand right here. And with that, this is completed. But I think that's going to do it for today. This is the end of Season 12. Season 13 will be starting soon, and I'm already in the process of planning out what I want to do. I've got some ideas. I'm going to be excited to share those with you, but not today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see ya later.